Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udhirayet Ashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhya eva cha Titanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim Yatkripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Continuing to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 12th chapter, text 17 onwards. Indra is being instructed by Vrtrasura in the middle of the battlefield. And the main message of this chapter, as we've been discussing, is rising above happiness and distress, victory and defeat, dualities, good and bad. And on the other hand, remaining steady like a sthita prajna and carrying out our services without a fruitive mentality. So here, Vrtrasura he knows that he's going to be killed. And he's going to lose, he's going to be killed, but he's still eagerly fighting. Of course, you may argue, well, that's because he knows he'll go back to Godhead. So giving up his body is a small price to pay. Either way, yeah, I guess we can argue about it like that. But like that, we can argue about anything. Yeah. But so Vrtrasura is telling Indra, don't be morose. Look at me, you cut off one of my hands. I lost my weapon, but I'm not morose. I'm still giving you a good fight. Victory and defeat is in the hands of the Lord. There is only the Lord who is always victorious. But as far as we are concerned, sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. So our main objective is to do our duty, please Krishna, irrespective of the outcome. So that's the theme of these verses. And of course, he's saying, you kill me, you will get what you want, I will get what I want. So whatever is ordained by providence, we will get that. So of course, it's not just providence, but it also is our desire. Vrtrasura had a desire. He was purified. He had a desire to go back to Godhead. So desire is also there, and then of course, then the sanction of the Lord is also there. So both are there. So that's the section. That's what's going on. And very beautiful verses. So text 17. It's 17. No purport. O my enemy, Consider this battle a gambling match in which our lives are the stakes, the arrows are the dice, and the animals acting as carriers are the game board. No one can understand who will be defeated and who will be victorious. It all depends on providence. So as it happens in many times in a battle, sometimes somebody has an upper hand, sometimes somebody else has an upper hand. And so there's this roller coaster going on. And what Vrtrasura is telling is if we are going to, you know, go along with the roller coaster ride, it will be very difficult. But on the other hand, to remain equanimous in victory or defeat, happiness or distress, keep the goal, keep the focus on the goal, like yesterday Padmanabha was mentioning, Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, there were so many reversals. Or even for us, there are so many reversals, but how do we stay on the course? We stay on the course because the goal is clear and we want to get to the goal. So there may be some small reversals or big reversals, but we stay on the course. No one can understand who will be defeated and who will be victorious. Or in our case, when will be, how many lifetimes, how much longer in this material world, this lifetime or next lifetime. It's not, in one sense, it's not so relevant. That's also the teaching of Mahaprabhu. Whether I go back home or not, all I want is I want to be in the association of devotees life after life, even if I don't finish this journey this time. So a devotee is always enthusiastic, nishayat, dhairya, because today or tomorrow he will again go back home, back to Godhead. So he is not so overly concerned about that. He is concerned with his services, he is concerned with his sadhana. Yeah. It all depends on providence, or it all depends when Krishna wants to take us back. It also depends on when Krishna wants to take us back. Text 18, 17 had no purpose. Text 18. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, hearing the straightforward instructive words of Vrtrasura, King Indra praised him and again took the thunderbolt in his hand without bewilderment or duplicity. He then smiled and spoke to Vrtrasura as follows. So now Indra is going to speak. Vrtrasura has been speaking for a long time. If you remember, going back to the previous chapter, the Chaturshloki verses and so on and so forth, he was instructing his own associates, demons, he was instructing the demigods. So it was a long class by Vrtrasura. And now Indra is going to respond. And as we see, as we understand, a person is recognized or is understood better when he speaks. Or when we hear somebody, we understand. So externally here, Vrtrasura seems to be a demon. But when he's speaking and Indra is hearing, who is this person? Seems like a demon, but he's speaking pure devotional service, the message of pure devotional service. He knows Sambandha Gyan, he knows Abhideya Gyan, he knows Prayojana. He knows the essence of scriptures. So Indra is understanding that this is not an ordinary person. And in a way, he's feeling joyful. Wow, is this? So as we see, we should feel happy to see a Vaishnava. So he's feeling very joyful. So Sukadev Goswami said, hearing the straightforward instructive words of Vrtrasura, King Indra praised him and again took the thunderbolt in his hand. So both the things are going on. The fight In a way, it's just as a matter of duty. And the appreciation in the heart is also there. Without bewilderment or duplicity. So, bewilderment or duplicity. He then smiled and spoke to Vrtrasura as follows. Purport. King Indra, the greatest of the demigods, was astonished to hear the instructions of Vrtrasura, who was supposed to be a demon. There you go. He was struck with wonder that a demon could speak so intelligently. Then he remembered great devotees like Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj, who had been born in the families of demons. And thus he came to his senses. Even so-called demons sometimes have exalted devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, Indra smiled reassuringly at Vrtrasura. So he's saying, wow, okay, he's one of us. He's also a devotee of the Lord. And he's more exalted than me. It's very clear. Indra uvacha aho danava siddho asi yasya te matir idrishi bhaktah sarvatmanatmanam suhridam jagadishwaram. Indra said, O great demon, I see by your discrimination and endurance in devotional service, despite your dangerous position, that you are a perfect devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhaktaha sarva atmana atmanam, without diversion to the super soul, who is a devotee of the Lord. Indra said, O great demon, I see by your discrimination and endurance in devotional service, despite your dangerous position, that you are a perfect devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the super soul and friend of everyone. Suhridam Jagadishwaram, Suhridam Sarvabhutanam, Suhridam Sarvadehinam. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 6:22, Yam labdva cha aparam labham manyate na adhikam tataha yasmin sthito na dukkhena gurunapi vichalyate. Gurunapi. This is Sita Prajna, kind of a Ashtanga Yoga verses. Established in Krishna consciousness. So the topmost stage, Yoga Rudha page of the yoga practice. Yoga Rukshu is sort of the beginner stage. Yoga Rudha. Arudha means advanced. Established in Krishna consciousness, one never departs from the truth. And upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Is that Chaitanya Charitamrita verse, Agiladhar Prabhu? You can look it up. That if one is receiving Krishna consciousness anywhere, one should take it up immediately, whatever may be the price to be given. Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think, one of the beginning verses. Rupa Goswami verse. Yeah, you remember? Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati Kriyatam Kuto Yadi Api Labhyate Tatra Lolyam Api Mulyam Ekalam Janma Sukratir न लभ्यते जन्म कोटि सुकृतिर न लभ्यते.
Very good. Is it Rupa Goswami?
Yeah, Padyavali. Probably Padyavali.
Maybe quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can send the verse. So, established in Krishna consciousness, one never departs from the truth. And upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of the greatest difficulty. So we were talking about the hurricanes and all that yesterday. So here, this is Nishtha and beyond. Is fixed. Nothing. Guru Napi Vichalyate. Even if it is a hurricane, Guru means huge. Even if something, Guru Napi Dukkhena, even if it's a huge calamity, Na Vichalyate, he's not disturbed. An unalloyed devotee is never disturbed by any kind of trying circumstance. There you go. Indra was surprised to see that Vrtrasura, undisturbed, was fixed in devotional service to the Lord. For such a mentality is impossible for a demon. However, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, anyone can become an exalted Vaishnava. Striyo Vaishyas Tatha Shudras Te Api Yanti Param Gatim. Bhagavad Gita again. So, as we understand, anyone can become a devotee. And no external considerations, no external considerations are there. Krishna also mentions Striyo Vaishyas Tatha Shudra. So of course, some people get disturbed by this verse. But anyway, Krishna is covering everyone actually. He's not just calling out the women. Striyo Vaishya, he's calling out the Vaishyas, Tatha Shudra, and Kali Yuga, Kalo Shudra Sambhavan. So essentially, he's calling out everyone. So we don't need to get all riled up and disturbed about Krishna calling out women as fallen and all that. He's calling out everyone. Striyo Vaishyas Tatha Sudras Te Api Yanti Param Gatim. An alloyed devotee is sure to return home back. Next verse. Bhavan Atharshin Mayam Vaishnavim Janamohinim Yat Vihaya Asuram Bhavam Maha Purushatam Gataha. You have surmounted the illusory energy of Lord Vishnu. Indra is saying this. And because of this liberation, you have given up the demoniac mentality and have attained the position of an exalted devotee. Bhavan, your good self. Atharshin, Mayam etam tarantite. Tarantite, Mayam vai, same thing. Daivihi esha gunamaye, ma maya duratya, mam evaya prapajyante, Mayam etam tarantite. Bhavan Atharshin Mayam vai. So you have surmounted. Yes, Bhagavatam Sanskrit is nice. Okay, put some philosophy here. Lord Vishnu is the Mahapurusha. Therefore, one who becomes a Vaishnava attains the position of a Mahapaurusha. This position was attained by Maharaj Parikshit. It is said in the Padma Purana that the distinction between a demigod and a demon is a demigod is a devotee of Lord Vishnu, whereas a demon is just the opposite. Vishnu Bhakta Smrito Daiva Asuras Tat Viparyayaha. There you go. Prabhupada is just repeating scripture. Demons, Asuras, Vishnu Purana. Vishnu Bhakta Smrito Daiva. So the devotees, the demigods are devotees of the Lord. Smrito. Asuras Tat Viparya. They are always opposed. Vrtrasura was considered a demon, but actually he was more than qualified as a devotee or Mahapaurusha, Mahabhagavat. If one somehow becomes a devotee of the Supreme Lord, whatever his position, he can be brought to the position of a perfect servant person. Amito Adhama Korohe Uttama Sikhaye Tadanga Sharanagati. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in his Sharanagati prayers, I am the most fallen. Amito Adhama, but Korohe Uttama, but you make me the most perfect. Sikhaye Tadanga Sharanagati. By teaching me the ways of surrender, you make me the most perfect. So anyone can be brought. He can be brought to the position of a perfect position. This is the possible if an unalloyed devotee tries to serve the Lord by delivering him in this way. Therefore, Sukadeva Goswami says in Srimad Bhagavatam, Kirata Huna He Andhra, Kirata Huna Andhra Pulinda Pulkasa, Abhira Sumbha Yavana Shadayaha, Ye Anye Chapapayat Apashraya Ashrayaha, Shuddhyanti Tasmai Prabha Vishnave Namaha. So, a very famous verse. One disciple of Srila Prabhupada is there from New Zealand, Prabha Vishnu Maharaj. Shuddhyanti tasmai prabhavishnave namaha. So these are different races. Kiratas, Hunas, Andhras, Pulindas, Pulkashas, Abhiras, Sumbhas, Yavanas, and members of the Khasa race. Covers everyone. Mongolia, China, Middle East, Western world, everyone is covered here. Andhra, and even others addicted to sinful activities. Ye anya cha papa yad pashraya ashraya. And even others addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord. Shuddhyanti tasmai prabha vishnave namaha. Should remember this verse, nice verse. For he is a supreme power. I beg to offer my respectful obeisance unto him. Anyone can be purified if he takes shelter of a pure devotee and molds his character according to the pure devotee's direction. Then, even if one is a Kirata, Andhra, Pulinda, or whatever, he can be purified and elevated to the position of a Mahapurusha. Anyway, this is very amazing. So it doesn't matter. We say I'm the most fallen, I'm the most this, I'm the most that. It doesn't matter. Firstly, Srila Prabhupada said you're not the most anything. Focus on the, the process of pure devotional service. What is difficult for Krishna or his pure devotee? Nothing is difficult. So yeah, we may be limited, but Krishna, the process, the devotees are not limited. Yeah. And when we have living examples in front of us, is there a need for further pramana? Like Ajamila and Yamadutas and Vishnudutas Katha. Yamaraj is explaining to them everything about the glories of the holy name. When they return to his kingdom, to his palace after being defeated by the Vishnudutas, and Ajamila is released, they go back and they ask him many questions. And he explains to them. But he said, anyway, what is the need for an explanation? I mean, you saw it. You saw it happen in front of you. Your plan was checked. The Ajamila, he uttered Narayana. The Vishnudutas came. They released him from the shackles of Yamaraj. And he could not do your service. So you saw it in front of your own eyes. But anyway, I'll instruct you anyway on the glories of the holy name. So anyway, so we are seeing these miracles happen every day. Prabhupada, sometimes some people would come to Prabhupada and say, can you show me a miracle? They think that sadhus are the ones who perform some miracles. People would come to Jagannath Das, Babaji Maharaj, can you show me some miracle? They would come to Gaura Kishore, can you show me some miracle? Similarly, they would come to Prabhupada, can you show me some miracle? So Prabhupada would show everybody, his disciples. He said, look at them. If this is not a miracle, what is a miracle? So before they came in touch with this process of Krishna consciousness, they were addicted to all kinds of things, sinful things. But look at them now. So the transformation of the heart is possible by taking up to the process of Krishna consciousness. There is also a verse in Hari Bhakti Vilas, right? By the process of, there is a process in chemistry, I suppose. There is a process called alchemy, where you can turn, you mix bell metal, kasa. In Hindi, it is called kasa, right? We eat sometimes in the thali, kasa. The bell metal can be transformed into gold through mixing of mercury and all that. So similarly, by the process of initiation, fallen person can be brought to an exalted stage. Paramahamsa even. Anyway, there's so many examples, Mrigari, etc., in scriptures. And of course, in Kali Yuga, we see it happening daily in front of us. So here Indra is glorifying Vrtrasura, that he has surmounted this illusory energy. And Prabhupada is writing that anybody can surmount it. But there is one condition. If one takes shelter of Krishna and the process of devotional service, anyone can surmount it. So the limitation is not in the process. Yeah, it may be in our application of it, and the layers and layers of coverings that are there. So Indra is seeing things as they are. He's understanding finally that this Vrtrasura is not an ordinary person. He's a Mahabhagavad Vaishnava. Next verse. O Vrtrasura, demons are generally conducted by the mode of passion. Therefore, what a great wonder it is that although you are a demon, you have adopted the mentality of a devotee and have fixed your mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudev, who is always situated in pure goodness. Khalu idam mahat ascharyam yad raja prakrite sorry, yad raja, sorry. Khalu idam mahat ascharyam yad raja prakrite although you're situated in Prita, Raja Prakrita. Vasudeve Bhagavati Sattvatatmani Dridamatihi. Dridamatihi Sita Prajna. Same thing. Fixed. Your mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeve Bhagavati. King Indra wondered how Vrtrasura could have been elevated to the position of an exalted devotee. As for Prahlad Maharaj, he was initiated by Narada Muni, and therefore it was possible for him to become a great devotee, although he was born in a family of demons. For Vrtrasura, however, Indra could not detect such causes, so he doesn't know the backstory. So again, bhakti comes from bhakti. Bhakti begins with bhakti, a very important principle, core principle. There is no cause, or there is no material cause for bhakti. Bhakti comes from bhakti. When a bhakta gives one bhakti or awakens that bhakti that is there in the heart, then one becomes a devotee. So it's not our degrees or Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shri is not what gets us bhakti. Even punya, pious activities on the material platform, they don't give us bhakti. Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti is there. There is another category of piety, bhakti piety, that enables us to receive bhakti when somebody is offering it to us. But it has to be still offered by someone. You follow? It's very clear. So the receptivity is there, like wet wood and dry wood. If there is some bhakti unmukhi sukriti in our account, then we are more inclined to say yes than say no. If somebody asks us, can you chant the holy name? Would you like to come? But the devotee still has to offer it to us, and then depending on the grass, wet grass or wet wood and dry wood. So that's, yeah, we are open to receiving it. Yeah. So he's wondering, okay, Prahlad Maharaj, when he was in his mother's womb, he got the association of Narada. Vrtrasura, he was just born from this fire. His father created him, Tvashta, right? So in this lifetime, boom, he was created by his father. He came out of the fire and straight to the battlefield. Okay, so what's going on? Where is the intervention? Where is the devotee? Or did he become a devotee? So Indra is wondering. Indra could not detect such causes. Therefore, he was struck with wonder that Vrtrasura was such an exalted devotee that he could fix his mind without deviation upon the lotus feet of Lord Krishna Vasudeva. This is very instructive, this is very important. So if we see some person, even though he may be brand new, he may be just, a devotee of yesterday, he just became a devotee yesterday, or the next generation, so-called, when much younger to us. But if we see uncommon devotion, what should we infer? This is what we should infer. That means he must have executed devotional service in his past life intensely. So there is no question of envy. So we may not see, how is he so advanced? Well, he has done a lot of devotional service in his last life. So he's advanced. So we should be happy. So anyway, so in our case, we may just actually be in the process of making the wood, wet wood, dry wood right now. Even that is good. And then, because then the dry wood can ignite, fire can be created. So wherever we are, whether we are in the process of, drying the wood, or our wood is already dry, or it's mostly wet, akama sarvakamo, in all conditions, practice devotional service. So there is really not, we can take inspiration from others, but we should not get morose and compare ourselves and like, wow, how come he's so advanced and I'm still here? So on and so forth. So devotional service, is mystical. And in most cases, it is done for many lifetimes. So Indra is like wondering, wow, you're a great. So he's finally understanding he's a great devotee. And he's wondering that usually the demons are influenced by the mode of passion. What's going on? Who is this Vrtrasura? He seems like a demon, but he's not a demon. A person fixed in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord, Hari, the Lord of the highest auspiciousness, swims in the ocean of nectar. For him, what is the use of the water in small ditches? So he's telling Vrtrasura his position. You don't need this kingdom. You're going back home, back to Godhead. I'm going to be stuck here. Yeah. Like His Holiness Radha Govinda Maharaj was mentioning the other day, when you're by the Ganges, flowing pure water of the Ganges, and if you're digging a well by the Ganges, what's the point of that? So pure devotional services compared to the flowing Ganges and all these other processes are like that. You're digging a well by the Ganges. What's the point? And Maharaj gives another example also, I'm forgetting. Bhagavad Gita also talks about this, right? Many wells, many wells. In the village, there are many, many wells. In the olden days, there were different wells. One well was for drinking water. Another well was for washing clothes, etc. And they would follow that. But then if there's a reservoir which can fulfill all the functions, then why not? So Krishna is telling Arjuna that in Bhagavad Gita. Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistrigunya Bhavarjuna. In that context, he's saying So you just take to this reservoir of Krishna consciousness. Mm. Anyway, we'll pause here. It's a very beautiful verse. We'll read this tomorrow. I also have another inspiration. Let's see. Gaura Purnima is coming up Monday here. So we could even switch, discuss about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from tomorrow onwards. I'm debating and thinking what to do. Hearing Guru Maharaj's lecture in Atlanta, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sannyas last time. Two initiations, Harinam and sannyas. And there he was encouraging devotees to prepare themselves for Gaura Purnima by diving into Chaitanya Lila or Chaitanya Siksha. So let's see, maybe we'll take a pause and get back to Vrtrasura. Maybe we are very fortunate. Got rasagullas or gulab jamun. Either way is fine. Okay, any comments, questions? So this is amazing. This section, Indra is glorifying Vrtrasura.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I might take the discussion into a detour by this sharing question. But anyway, I'm okay if you don't want to take it up. I was thinking about this transformation of, which bhakti, in the process of bhakti, which in a way we are all seeking for ourselves, and also by our material conditioning, how we are kind of always wanting the transformation to occur in the people around us, rather than focusing on ourselves, and how to really get the focus back in a way where this dance of being in relationship with others, but really focusing internally into our own transformation. So if you could speak a little about it, that'll be helpful. Thank you.
I'll just repeat because you're also traveling, I think driving. So I think we got what you're saying. So Mataji's question is about transformation. This whole process of devotional service is pure devotional service, a change of heart, changing of desires, not just changing of thoughts and actions, but changing of desires. Bhagavatam says that. And sometimes, or most times, we see that we are very concerned about the transformation of others, meaning that others are transformed. We have attachments, we have relationships. I want my wife to become a nice devotee, or my husband to become a better devotee, or my son to become a nice devotee. So our attention mostly seems to be external, outside. But we also need to become a devotee, nice devotee, or a better devotee. So our question is how to, while that thought is also good, when one is concerned, hopefully, and not that place that one is coming from is not anxiety, but actually compassion. That that this person becomes a nice devotee. It'll be so wonderful for him. So compassion, it could be from compassion, it could be from anxiety. Either way, Mataji is saying how to stay focused on one's own Krishna consciousness also. Well, firstly, of course, there are many, many instructions. While our movement is a charitable movement, missionary aspect is there, concern for others is there. But Mahaprabhu has said, Janma sarthaka kari kara para upakar. That make sure, you perfect your life also. They both can go hand in hand. It's not like I'll wait to become perfect and then I will do something for others. They both go hand in hand. They can go hand in hand. So it's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mandate is there. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he told Srila Prabhupada the same thing. Yeah, you take this message to the West. It'll be good for them. It'll be good for you. Prabhupada was again and again asking, okay, you're distributing my books. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. But are you reading them also? I'm definitely interested in book distribution and sales, but I'm more interested that you read my books and you also go back home, back to Potter. So anyway, so instructionally, it's there. I mean, there are enough instructions. Yeah, but why may we not do that? Well, there may be multiple reasons. Yeah, we may find that the process is difficult, or I have a long way to go. I don't even know where to begin, and how to go further. There may be some apprehensions in when I begin to embark on this journey. What all will I find? What all will I have to overcome? Because sometimes we do constellations and all that. Sometimes it was, oh my God, the word, when I hear the word healing, I feel like I want to just throw in the towel. There are so many things. So there may be some apprehension about that, but we don't understand. Like Prabhupada said, what's these things? With one kick of my foot, I can just remove all of them. So it may be that. It may be that. It may also be that we are just accustomed. We are like Bahir Mukha. By nature, we are accustomed to have our attention outside. Follow. Like the bird, and the two birds on the tree. The bird is always outside, looking outside. It may be that we don't have, enough relationships to help us along the journey. The process is clear, but then there are details, somebody has to hold our hand. And so it is easier to tell others what to do rather than, address things myself. Prabhupada has said many times about, we all fly, all the birds, they fly together. They fly in a pattern. And it helps. Flying with the other birds, it helps us. The head bird takes the brunt of the wind. They switch positions when they're flying. Somebody gets tired, he comes back, somebody else comes forward, like that. But each one of us also has to fly our own plane, or we also have to flap our wings. It depends. And sometimes devotees heavily compromise, saying, their focus on preaching is so much that they compromise their sadhana. You follow? So there may be multiple reasons. And how to stay focused on, well, Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about this all the time in his bhajans. You go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I have taken the holy name. You also receive your holy name. You also take your holy name. So it's nice to be cheering for others, but how about cheering for ourselves? It could also be an anartha where we actually put ourselves last. You follow? Charity begins at home. We put ourselves last. It could be an anartha in the guise of charity. I'm not so important. My self-realization or my own welfare is not so important. So those are some thoughts. Anyway, there may be more. But we have to find out for ourselves, and probably a mixture of all of them. Yeah. Anyway, even I've been noticing. Anyway, this morning classes and Bhagavatam and all that. Yeah, most of us we get up for some services. We get up for a service for others, right? We will not get up for ourselves. I mean, I know. Okay, 7 o'clock. I have a Bhagavatam class. You follow? That's the absolute. That cannot be missed. But as far as I'm concerned, well, whether I get up at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or 6, it's okay. But the Bhagavatam class. I mean, anyway, I can say, well, for me, it's like the lowest, the net. So you follow my safety net. If that is also gone, then I'm really in trouble. So it may be my way of just sort of staying, you follow, somewhat. But as you're saying, but I'm missing out on many things. If I'm going to just operate on that platform, you follow. So sometimes I think, well, maybe I should have the class at 5 o'clock in the morning. But why that? But why can't one get up? Why can't I get up and chant at 5 o'clock in the morning? What's the problem with that? Can I be with the holy name? Can I just be with the holy name and myself? You follow? Why do I need 10 people to be with 10 people only? And then I can do devotional service. You follow?
Yes.
So anyway, Hare Krishna. Anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisance.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I had a question regarding the position of Vrtrasura. So, Indra is saying various things about him. Like he's saying that he's in a dangerous position, and he's saying that you are in mode of passion, so you are a demon. But you have transcended that passion by focusing your attention on Vasudeva. So that brings goodness. So now basically you have surmounted the illusory energy. So what is the position of Vrtrasura actually? Like, because he was Chitraketu in the previous birth, so he has Bhakti Unmukhi Sukruti. But in this present birth, why, like, how is he a demon? Like,
Oh, even Bhakti, he is. He's not a Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti, he's a Mahabhagavad Vaishnava.
Yeah,
He
sorry.
was already on the topmost platform. Something happened. He said something in a joking way, he said something to Shiva, which Parvati took an offense. And Parvati cursed him to be a demon. So he's like Bharat Maharaj, Jad Bharat, like an accident happened. He got attached to a deer, something like that. So Vrtrasura, there's no question about it. He's not just Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti, he's on the topmost platform. And here Indra is just speaking about things from an external point of view. Should not think like that he's actually a demon or he's saying generally, what he's saying is generally the demons are in the mode of passion, etc., etc. And she's wondering, wow, so who are you? It seems like your body is of a demon, but your consciousness is of a Mahapaurusha, Mahabhagavat. So King Chitraketu, we may not cover it in detail, but King Chitraketu, he received mantra from Narada, Sankarshana mantra. He perfected his life. And in that perfected state, actually, he was traveling about Sankirtan. He was traveling in an airplane with his congregational associates. And when he was traveling, one day he saw Lord Shiva was sitting, in an assembly of sages, and Parvati was on his lap. And Chitraketu was joking, hey, Shiva, what's going on? What's going on? Don't you know the etiquette? You're, sitting with his exalted sages, doing Bhagavad Katha, and then you have your wife on your lap. He was actually glorifying, like, look at this Lord Shiva. He has Mother Parvati in his lap, but his senses are controlled. He's not agitated. That's what he was actually glorifying. But Parvati, she thought that he was insulting her husband. So she cursed him. Then immediately he came down, and he didn't justify or anything like that. He accepted the curse. Then he became his father Tvashta. He performed a sacrifice from which Vrtrasura came. And when this happened, Lord Shiva is glorifying. Look at the devotees of Narayan. He was not actually at fault. You cursed him. But Narayana para sarve nakutaschan vidyati swarga apavarga narakeshu abhitulyata darshan. So Vrtrasura is a Mahabhagavad Vishnu, King Chitraketu. And he took him, he was not there overnight. Initially, his journey began just with wanting a son, million wives wanting a son. So Angira Rishi and Narada had. So the first time Angira Rishi had come, actually. Second time, then when the son died and all that, the whole thing happened. Then both of them came. Then Narada instructed him in spiritual life. He gave him the mantra. Sankarshana mantra. And it is mentioned, Acharyas mentioned that actually, so Lord Shiva and Maharaj Chitraketu are like god brothers. Lord Shiva's worshipful deity is also Sankarshan. Right? So sometimes god brothers, they joke. I mean, they glorify each other by joking, by being sarcastic. So etiquette-wise, Chitraketu was just glorifying Lord Shiva, actually, as his god brother. Sometimes he pull his leg. But Parvati took offense. So Chitraketu, Vrtrasura, we should see him as Mahabhagavat Vaishnava. It's very clear. And he surmounted all that in his previous life, and that consciousness stayed with him, like Jad Bharat and Bharat Maharaj. Krishna, Matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Krishna preserved that remembrance. Even when he was in the body of a deer, he remembered what happened last time. It will not happen again. So he was, although he was in the body of a deer, he was not just hanging out with the deers. He was hanging out at the ashram with the sadhus, which he didn't do in his previous life, which got him in trouble in the first place. So his consciousness was preserved. So it's not just Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti. These are like blazing fire. Fire is blazing devotional service. Some minor accident happened. And this is all the mercy of the Lord. The devotees explain that, if he again takes birth, so to the deer's body, sometimes like even we discuss in Vrindavan, sometimes the devotees who commit some offenses, they take birth as a dog or something. They come back again immediately. So they don't even take another birth, human birth. It's longer. Take birth as some animal and then boom. That's it. They come back. Okay, so how do we see Vrtrasura? We see Vrtrasura as a great devotee. Meaning we are not limited by how Indra is seeing him, you follow. Our vision is through Sukadev Goswami and what Prabhupada is mentioning in the purpose. Okay, good.
Thank you, bro.
Hare Krishna. Anything else? Anyone? Sita, Maharani, Satya.
Prabhuji, I wanted to ask that Indra was saying that to Vrtrasura that I'll not like you are a very good Vaishnava. I'll be stuck here and you will go back to Godhead. So why does he's saying that knowingly, so why does he want to be stuck? Why does he want to go back? Why does he not want to go back?
Yeah, well, why does he not want to go back? I think he does want to go back, but as Shweta Mataji was saying, but I think he's got two legs in two boats, like all of us, right? I want to go back, but I also want this. So as long as that's going on, two pocket program, I want to go back and I also want this, then we pay a price for that. Yeah.
Prabhuji, so if we have such desires, so would we also not be able to go back? What do we have to do then to remove that?
Well, yeah. So, yeah, Anya Bhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. Yeah, to go back home, back to Godhead, one has to be absolutely pure. Yeah, so then whatever it takes to cultivate that purity, what do we have to do? We have to cultivate that purity. Like Prabhupada gives the example, if you want to enter into fire, right? For example, if you want to enter into fire, not be burned, then you have to have a body like that of a fire. Or if you want to live in the water, then you have to have a body that allows you to live in the water, like a fish or something. So similarly, for us to go back home, back to Godhead, the Vaikuntha realm is the realm of purity. I mean, 100%, not like 20%, 30%, 40%, 100%. So that's there. And how to do that? Yeah. So practice devotional service. And that's why it is mentioned. So whether it happens this lifetime or the next lifetime or whenever it happens, it happens. Because the process is also joyful, right? So in a way, we are not missing out. We are hopefully, if we practice the process nicely, then we are becoming happier and happier and happier here also. So it's not like something you only when you go there you'll get something. That's the beauty of this process of bhakti yoga. In most of the processes, it's like you have to do something and then you get something. So here, while we are doing also, we are experiencing. So prayojana is also happening simultaneously. So in this process, sambandha, abhidheya, and prayojana, it is all happening simultaneously. It is like a spiral. Sambandha gyan becomes more fixed, abhidheya becomes more fixed, and the prayojanas slowly they manifest. So we experience, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, pratyaksha anugavam dharmyam. One can experience as to the degree we are practicing, as you're saying, to the degree we are practicing, we can see the freeing, the liberation from the modes of material nature. What Indra is talking about with Vrtrasura. If we practice it, we can see it. And if we sort of our practice slackens, then we also see the other part, how we are influenced by the modes of nature. So moment to moment, actually, day to day, we can experience this. Yeah. Of course, there may be sometimes you may get an honorary degree, right? Prabhupada says, like but so you plan to study but sometimes the universities may give us somebody an honorary degree, but you don't depend on that. So that's kripa siddhi. It's like, okay, that may happen. Like Prabhupada once time in his lecture was saying the same question that you're asking. Prabhupada was saying, if you become 100% Krishna conscious, then you'll go back home, back to Godhead. And all the devotees were like, discouraged. Prabhupada said 90%. Meaning Prabhupada has a back door or something. He said 90%, I'll take you back. Even then, like devotees are like this. Anyways, he kept bringing it down 40%, 50%, like that. And then Prabhupada said, or always, of course, you can just, hang on to my dhoti and I'll take you back. Like that. You follow?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Anyway, these inebriate, this process is very mystical. These inebriaties, because we see from the scriptures, of course, these are tinges, right? When Lord Vishnu, he touched Dhruva with his conch, whatever little was remaining, impurities, gone. So similarly, even if, let's say we're there 30, 40% or whatever, and I'm not advocating this, but if the Lord chooses out of his own causeless mercy, he chooses to just in an instant, purify us and take us back home, who is to stop him? But we don't depend on that. You follow?
Yes.
Or if he doesn't take us back, then we continue next lifetime. Okay. I think we'll end. Thank you. And why Indra is not? Well, from Bhagavad Gita's perspective, higher taste. Somehow that higher taste has not fully awakened. So he wants other things also. Vrtrasura he's saying, I don't want heavenly planets. I don't want rasadhipatyam. I don't want this. I don't want that. Because if I have this, when I have you, what is the need for all those things? So his Vrtrasura's higher taste has awakened. Indra's higher taste or our higher taste has not fully awakened. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you all for joining. We'll continue tomorrow.